Coda. What if the future isn't perfect? Our brief histories of the future perfect are just a few morsels from the bountiful future feast we hope our kids and their kids will experience by 2050, and we hope we've sparked your imaginations about the wealth of things that are possible. Whatever futures we actually build by 2050 will set the foundation for humanity's collective future in the decades beyond. No pressure. But our future perfect is hardly guaranteed. As we've said repeatedly, we aren't predicting the future, we're just offering a way to invent a great one. So, before moving on to how individuals, corporations, and governments can do their part to advance the future perfect, we'll step back for a moment and offer a reality check in two forms. First is a look at inertia. What might happen if the course of history just continues along current trajectories? The second is what we've called the future pathetic. What if technology, instead of amplifying upward trajectories, pulled us down toward the abyss? Future perfect or business as usual? Many current trends offer worrisome future scenarios. The rise in atmospheric carbon, growing inequities between rich and poor, threats to our infrastructure, inadequate educational systems, the continued entrenchment of structural racism and social injustice, and the rising cost of healthcare, just to name a few. The one business-as-usual possibility that really scares us is climate change. There are many bright minds who argue we're already too late to escape the worst effects. If we haven't made enormous progress by 2050, all bets are off. The rest don't sound so awful, but they could be in any of a number of future pathetics. Future pathetics. While it took us 175-odd pages just to scratch the surface of a few pieces of the future perfect, we bet we can ignite vivid and pathetic scenarios in most of our readers' minds with just a few words. 1984, Brave New World, Dr. Strangelove, and A Tale of Two Cities. Here's how technology might take us down a very different path toward one of those four dystopias. 1984. In George Orwell's 1984, a future history published in 1949, the instrument of totalitarian surveillance was a pervasive two-way telescreen and a society where everyone spies on everyone else. Hello, Big Brother. Today, the laws of zero already enable pervasive surveillance through a multitude of channels, ranging from ubiquitous public and private closed-circuit television cameras to the easy-to-hijack ones on Nest cams, dash cams, body cams, webcams, and phones. Even baby monitors aren't safe. Now, add billions of pictures, videos, and self- and friend-revealing posts on social media. Process all of the above through the latest AI face recognition algorithms and crowdsourced human spotters. Cross-reference the results with numerous personal information sources. Magnify all that by a factor of 1,000,000 times better computing power, communications speed, and information density under the control of unchecked totalitarian ambitions. Welcome to 2050, 1984 style. Brave New World. Aldous Huxley's 1932 novel, Brave New World, was set in a numbed world where drugs kept the populace under control and where factory-hatched designer babies enforced a rigid social caste system. Huxley set his novel some 500 years into the future, but the laws of zero will likely deliver the genomic engineering, designer pharmaceuticals, and other technologies he envisioned by 2050, if not sooner. A rogue scientist in China has already modified the genomes of human babies using the CRISPR technology we described in the Law of Zero on Genomics. He was thrown in jail, but not before the babies' lives were forever altered, and the episode shows how easy it is for safeguards to be evaded. What's more, in our future, technological distractions could take the place of Huxley's drugs. Think about how much time we spend doing idle things on our devices, often more than one at a time, as we scroll on our phones in front of our laptops while a television plays in the background. Technology companies have realized the most precious thing they can get from a consumer is attention. So they want all of it. And they're really smart about how to get it. They've fine-tuned algorithms to keep people on Facebook, to keep them scrolling through Twitter, to keep them perusing TikTok, and sharing videos so other people get hooked too. No, the technology companies aren't using drugs, and they aren't forcing anyone to do anything, but it's easy to imagine how we might slide down the slippery slope to a pathetic new world by 2050. Dr. Strangelove. Then there is the march to doomsday envisioned in the classic 1964 movie Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, which is relevant today and will be even more so in 2050, when the mechanisms for doomsday machines and mutually assured destruction will be well within the reach of many. The dangers won't just be the nuclear weapons featured in that movie, but will include a wide array of possible attacks: human-engineered viruses, poisoning of water supplies, use of cyber attacks to take down communications networks, banking systems, electric grids, or transportation networks, and more. The human race has avoided catastrophe thus far because state actors have always stepped back from the brink. But success is by no means guaranteed, and tensions will surely heat up, at least as the U.S., the EU, China, Russia, and others vie for supremacy in numerous areas. What's more, the laws of zero will put weapons of mass destruction into the hands of non-state actors, who are becoming more important because of the growth of numerous movements worldwide, as humanity fractures into as many factions as there are grievances. We won't be learning to stop worrying or to love the bomb anytime soon, that's for sure. A Tale of Two Cities. Just to ruin whatever is left of your happy mood, let's look at possible analogies to one of the great novels of all time, Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. Our previous trifecta of dystopias doesn't mention heightened inequity, let alone climate change, which we've covered elsewhere. Yet rising inequality, as in the Dickens classic, is affecting more than 2/3 of the globe. UN Chief Antonio Guterres writes that the world is confronting the harsh realities of a deeply unequal global landscape, in which economic woes, inequalities, and job insecurity have led to mass protests. Income disparities and a lack of opportunities are creating a vicious cycle of inequality, frustration, and discontent across generations. While technological innovation can support economic growth, offering new possibilities in fields such as healthcare, education, communication, and productivity, there's also evidence it can lead to increased inequality in wealth and wages, and can displace workers. For now, highly skilled workers are reaping the benefits of the so-called Fourth Industrial Revolution, while low- and middle-skilled workers engaged in routine manual and cognitive tasks are seeing their opportunities shrink. The near-magical capabilities delivered by the laws of zero over the next 3 decades could amplify this disparity. Inequality has been found to hurt economic growth for everyone. In 2014, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, a collective of the world's 35 wealthiest countries, found that rising inequality in the U.S. from 1990 to 2010 knocked about 5 percentage points off cumulative GDP per capita over that period. Similar effects were seen in other rich countries. Inequality affects growth by undermining education opportunities for children from poor socioeconomic backgrounds, lowering social mobility, and hampering skills development, the OECD found. Employees become less productive, which means lower wages, which means lower overall participation in the economy. Inequality could accentuate crime, too. A 2002 World Bank paper, for instance, found data strongly suggesting high levels of inequality create a permanent underclass forced to compete, sometimes violently, either with itself or with other classes for scarce resources. A 2016 London School of Economics study found that income differences create an incentive for those relatively poor to steal from richer households. And history shows inequity can cause societal upheaval, a la A Tale of Two Cities, if allowed to grow too big or fester too long. Pervasive economic inequity is the common thread tying together the most disruptive revolutions of human history, and it already has some scientists worried about the U.S. Not only does history repeat itself, but it may do so again sooner than we think. 2050 could easily be the best of times and the worst of times, to paraphrase Charles Dickens. It will be an age of wisdom. Will it also be an age of foolishness, where inequities stretch beyond a breaking point? We're not lacking for other dystopian futures, and iconic movies that bring them to dreary life, including a world overrun by garbage, WALL-E, technology-enabled governmental intrusion, Minority Report, and AI run amok, The Terminator. As we've said, we see no need to settle for the business-as-usual case in 2050, let alone the dystopias. But they're out there, and they're all too possible. That's why we hope you'll pay special attention to the final part of the book, where we lay out how individuals, corporations, and governments can move us toward our best possible future.